In 2026, being poor in Britain doesn't always look the way you'd expect. There's no dramatic image, no empty cupboard, no eviction notice taped to a door. It's quieter than that. It's invisible. Because modern British poverty isn't only about what you don't have, it's about the mental math you're forced to do every single hour of every single day. In one of the richest nations on earth, millions of people are trapped in a strange, high-status kind of struggle. A decent enough postcode, a job, maybe even a car sitting on the driveway, and yet no room to breathe, not a single inch of it. So here are 5 signs you're poor in the UK right now. Not lazy, not failing, just quietly, relentlessly squeezed. And if 1 or 2 of these feel a little too familiar, stay to the end, because the final sign explains the whole trap. Sign 1. You've stopped shopping for value and started shopping for time. And there's a difference. Value shopping is choosing the own brand beans. Survival timing is knowing the exact hour your local Tesco or Sainsbury's slaps on the final reductions and quietly building your entire evening around being there for it. When your weekly nutrition genuinely depends on catching that 30p loaf of bread before someone else grabs it, you're not being savvy. You're paying what economists call a bandwidth tax. Every hour spent chasing yellow stickers is an hour of mental energy the wealthy never spend. They walk into the shop, pick up what they want, and leave. You're running a logistics operation just to eat. And that quiet, constant planning, the timing, the tracking, the low hum of it, that is the first sound of being poor in Britain. Sign 2. The fixed cost cage. Look at the smart meter on your kitchen wall. For some people, it's just a gadget. For you, it's a ticking clock, a little glowing number that makes you flinch every time the kettle goes on. In 2026, the typical household energy bill under the price cap sits at around £1,641 a year, and it climbed again over the summer. Then there's council tax. The average Band D bill in England for 2026 to 2027 has risen to £2,392. That's an increase of £111, 4.9%, in a single year. For most people, that's an annoyance. But if a letter announcing a council tax rise makes you feel physically sick, actual nausea, because there is zero give left in your budget, that is not you overreacting. That is systemic poverty. The costs are fixed, your income isn't keeping up, and the walls of the cage simply do not move. Sign 3. The £1,000 cliff. Here's the number that quietly defines modern Britain. According to 2026 figures, 39% of British adults have £1,000 or less in savings. A quarter, 25%, have £200 or less. And the ONS measures resilience with a brutal little test. Could your household find £850 for an unexpected but necessary expense? For millions, the honest answer is no. So when the boiler dies in January, when a tooth cracks, when the vet gives you that look about the dog, it isn't an inconvenience, it's a catastrophe. And because the cash isn't there, you reach for the credit card, or worse, a payday loan, and the interest starts stacking, month after month. That's the cliff. On one side, an ordinary life. On the other, one bad Tuesday away from a debt spiral you didn't choose. The FCA reckons 1 in 4 UK adults have low financial resilience, meaning they are one shock away from the edge. If that's you, you are not careless. You are standing exactly where a third of this country is standing. Sign 4. Mobility poverty. Your ability to earn money depends on your ability to move, and for a lot of people, that link has worn dangerously thin. Maybe you're driving a car that is one MOT failure away from the scrapyard, and you already know the chain. If it fails, you can't afford to fix it. If you can't fix it, you can't get to work. And if you can't get to work, well, that's not a car problem. That's an income about to collapse overnight. Or maybe you've done the maths on the train, and the fare has quietly outpaced your hourly wage. So now you're skipping the commute or turning down shifts and jobs entirely, simply because you cannot afford to physically get there. When the cost of the journey eats the whole reason for the journey, you're trapped in mobility poverty. The wealthy never feel this. For them, transport is a convenience. For you, it's a tightrope, and you're walking it every single morning. Sign 5. The quiet opt-out. This is the one nobody talks about, because it's the most embarrassing. You've started saying no. No to the wedding, because the gift, the outfit, and the travel would blow a hole in the whole month. No to the birthday drinks. And eventually, no, even to a £5 coffee with a friend, because that £5 is already spoken for on a spreadsheet you keep running in your head. And so, slowly, you disappear. Not because you don't want to see people, but because seeing people has a price tag you can no longer meet. This is the isolation of the poor. It's the squeezed middle pulling back from life itself, declining invitations with a vague little excuse, quietly hoping nobody notices you've simply stopped showing up. Loneliness, it turns out, is one of the hidden bills of being broke in Britain. Now here's the part that ties it all together, and it's where Britain gets genuinely strange. On paper, this is a wealthy country. Mean household wealth sits above £500,000, but the mean is a liar. It's dragged upward by a small number of enormously rich households. The richest tenth alone holds something like 43% of all the wealth in the nation. The median, the actual middle household, the true centre of British life, is far lower, around £293,700, and almost all of that is locked inside a house they can't spend and a pension they can't touch. So you get a nation with a rich average and a fragile middle, high mean, low resilience. And here's the twist. Plenty of the people who look comfortable are just wearing a nicer version of the very same trap. That financed Audi on the driveway, sitting on a PCP deal? For many, that isn't wealth. It's a monthly payment they cannot miss, on a car they don't own, parked outside a house they're barely holding on to. The home counties are full of people who look rich and feel terrified. It's the exact same cliff. They're just standing a little further along it. So what does it all add up to? Poverty in Britain, in 2026, isn't really about hunger or a lack of things. It's a noise. It's the constant low background hum of mental calculation, the arithmetic that never, ever switches off. What time do the reductions start? Can the meter take another wash? What happens if the car fails its MOT? Can I afford to say yes? On and on and on. And if poverty is noise, then real wealth isn't a yacht or a mansion or a big number in an account. Real wealth is silence. It's the ability to walk into a shop and buy the thing without a single flicker of arithmetic. It's tapping your card without that half second of dread. It's being able to say yes to the coffee, the wedding, the whole of life, without checking your banking app first. That silence is the thing worth chasing. And if, today, the noise is loud, if you saw yourself in these 5 signs, then understand this. It is not a verdict on you. It is the sound of a system quietly squeezing tens of millions of people exactly like you. You are not alone on that cliff. You are standing there with a third of the country. And the first step off it, the only real first step, is simply seeing the trap for what it is. If you learn something, like this video and hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.